about this movie, Agent Revelation. So
Yes.
this is the sequel to the first movie, and you're a new character that came in for this one.
Mhm.
So how did you prepare for this role and getting up to speed with the storyline that we've seen so far?
Well, actually, I didn't. I purposely didn't really look at the first one, um,
Okay.
and Derek didn't make. He really didn't make it a point for me to for him to say, "Hey, look, you got to watch the first movie to kind of get an idea," which is great because I like to think that if you don't look at, I mean, you got to know what it's about.
Right, right.
But if you don't, then you just kind of make the character your own, which is going to bring a uniqueness to it. Is what I like. I remember when I was doing this one show, I asked the producer. It was an ongoing show, and I said, "What do you want me to do?" And he says, "Hey, don't listen to anything. Just make the character your own." And and it worked out a lot better that way. So I prepared usually. I read the script a few times to make sure that it was something I wanted to do. I read the part, and then I just went in there and did my thing.
Oh, great. Well, speaking about Derek, he not only did he star in the movie, but he also wrote the film and directed it.
Right.
Did that bring any interesting challenges or make it easier for you when working on developing your character with him?
Interesting. I've worked on shows where that's been the case, and it everything is each case is different. You know, because there's some director, actors, writers that are saying, say the line like I want. I wrote it that way, and this is and then there's some that kind of go, oh, well, show me what you want to do, or whatever the case. And I didn't have any issues with Derek because, he knew what he wanted, he knew what it was being shot. Especially on the low budget movies, you don't have time for a lot of, you know, stomping off the set, I'm not going to do
Right,
it.
right.
You really have so much time and you got to get it done. I think we all feel that way. Um, but there was just one episode. There was one situation where I wanted to change the way that I died, or I had an idea. And he and I kind of had this really kind of nice little, it wasn't an argument, it was a discussion. And all I said was, I'd like to do it this way. And he go, I'd rather you do it that way. And I go, no, I think I want to do it this way. I think it's very interesting. Watch. And I showed him. He goes, yeah, that's good, but I really think you ought to do it that way. And I go, no, I don't. And finally I went, okay, I'll do it. Because he wasn't asking me to do something that was just anathema to my life, or to
Right, right.
my sensibilities or anything like that. So, but that was the only time.
Cool. And with the actual storyline itself, it seemed there were aspects of it that I found that reminded me of the John Carpenter movie They Live from back in the 80s. And as far as like what the aliens' plans were with going after humans' penchant for greed and trying to accumulate wealth and all that kind of stuff, and that seems like a theme that is ever present in society. So how looking at that, how do you think that applies to like where we are in society right now, and what do you think the audience will kind of take away from that?
Actually, I think the audience isn't really going to equate it too much to our lives now, because it has really become our lives in reality is gone way beyond. I mean, it really is a science fiction show of epic proportions. But I don't think that they will get what's happening now. I mean, we all know about greed. We knew about that back in that movie where Michael Douglas says greed is good.
Wall Street.
Wall Street. I mean, we all got it, and we have so many examples of the greed just going crazy. I mean, we all know about, Jeff Bezos, home,
Right, right.
going, who needs 100,000 square feet, or so we get that part. I think what I was trying to bring to it was the idea that this guy made a decision that was a really bad decision, and he's trying to make up for it. And he realizes that no matter how much money he has, he cannot make up for it. And when I get killed, I wanted to bring some of that into that death scene, just by acting and not rewriting anything.
Right.
And that's what I get from it, is that
Yeah.
there's always going to be people that are going to be fighting against it. There's always going to be people that are going to be good people who are trying to do the right thing. And there's always going to be somebody who's trying to destroy it all for whatever reasons they have.
Right. And you spoke earlier about how this was a lower budget production. It's obviously not a huge blockbuster Hollywood release. How did you actually get involved with this? How did you come across the script? Did it go through your agent, come to you, or was there another?
It went through my agent, and they called and they said, "Hey, there's a guy that wants you to be in his movie." And I get those calls occasionally, which I love, and I say, well, let me see the script. And that's kind of how it turned out. I mean, I didn't really get a chance to talk to Derek until I was on the set. I mean, I talked to him on the phone and we talked about the part and blah, 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 but didn't really get to talk to him in depth until the movie was, and we had lunch. This was last year, or beginning of the year. And he kind of gave me an idea of what he wanted for, or what he was trying to go for, not with the movie, but with, the agent movies, and trying to bring some kind of business model back to Hong Kong, which is
right,
which is fantastic. And so that was kind of how it started, but that's kind of normal, that's kind of
right, right. Yeah. So with this being kind of one in a series of films, was there anything that you wanted to bring specifically to your character to make him stand out in the series, or to sorry, completely lost my train of thought there for a second. What were you looking to bring to the character that you didn't necessarily see in the script or on the page as you were preparing?
Oh, I wanted to have that sense of kind of hopelessness, not in terms of, oh my God, I'm not doing anything. It's just the idea that bring a sense of, he can't do anything to fix what he's fixed, no matter what he does. I mean, even if he saves the world, he still made that decision about his son. That was a pretty awful decision.
Right.
And so I wanted him to bring a sort of sadness to his character. I mean, he's really clear about what's going on, and this is, all exciting stuff, but it can't bring, my son back. It can't, undo what I've done. And so, and a lot of times, very rich guys don't have that that kind of sensibility until everything's taken away. And then they go, oh, wow, really, I kind of screwed that up, didn't I? So that's what I wanted to bring, is that he actually feels it. He actually feels that, yeah, he screwed up, and he doesn't know if it's going to work. He's going to do everything he can to defeat the aliens, but he doesn't know if it's going to work or not. And that's sort of like, whenever I approach the scene or I'm in a scene, that's not really at the forefront, but it's in the back. It's like sort of a loop playing in my head in the back.
Right. In the scene, like I guess it was maybe about halfway through the film, when you were working on training with Jim and teaching him how to use the mana and grab that energy. There's one part where you and he are doing, it looks like a form of Tai Chi.
Mhm.
Is that something that you've brought over from your wharf days, or is that something that just kind of came up for this specifically? And is that something that you practice on the regular outside of that?
Okay, three questions.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. The first question is yes, I brought it over. The second answer is it was in the script, so it was kind of played right into the hands of, oh, I did this before. And I do not practice that. I practice forms of meditation and all body work and stuff like that, but not Tai Chi.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, Derek has spent most of his life in martial arts. When I was doing all these moves, I was going, I looked at him at a point. I said, wait a minute, have you done martial arts before? And he goes, well, actually, my whole life. And I went, well, what am I, trying to teach you? He says, no, no, no. I want you to, you're teaching me. So all I'm going to do is follow your moves, for the
Right.
sake. But he knows martial arts. So
Cool. And I guess also kind of going back into that a little bit. It seems like Jim was not so much a surrogate for your son, but like you were trying not to make the same mistakes that you had made previously. What do you think Alistair was hoping to get out of what he was trying to get Jim to do?
oh, I think he looks, and this is one thing that very wealthy people, they look at other people as tools, as things to use, as pawns on a chessboard or whatever the case. And so I think that's the way he looked at everybody, you know, is that he's using these people like pawns on a chessboard to try to, save the world, basically. But he doesn't, I don't think he looked at him as, at least that's
Mhm.
what I was acting, was that he wasn't looking at him as a surrogate son, or even, I mean, he may have some affection for the kid, like, okay, this guy's okay. But um, in the whole scheme of things, he is really just using people as pawns, to achieve, even though it's a good thing, the ends don't justify the means. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and so that leads down another path, which is that he's still making kind of shitty decisions.